Today, my dad celebrates his 90th birthday. We had the party yesterday, but the real date of his birth is April 8th, 1929. To say that Dad has lived and seen a lot may be a bit of an understatement. The last 150 years may have seen the most progress in terms of culture, transportation, and mass communication in the entire annals of human history, and my dad has seen much of it. To think that in my dad's lifetime we have gone from silent black and white movies through the advent of talkies and Technicolor to the age of creating them all by computer generated graphics and even one completely recorded and edited on an iPhone, it shows how far we have come. But that's not all. When my dad was young, families gathered around a radio and listened to the news, quiz shows, serial dramas like The Shadow, and President Roosevelt's fireside chats. Of course, the radio was replaced with black and white televisions, then color TVs, then cable, and now satellite technology that can broadcast from anywhere in the world to anywhere in the world simultaneously. And what about transportation? The car was a mostly new invention when my dad was born. Trains were the favorite type of long-distance travel throughout America, and ships were the only way someone could go overseas. The airplane had been invented only 11 and a half years before my dad was born. It would still be a few years before commercial air travel usurped trains as the go-to long-distance mass transportation vehicle. Who could have imagined that my dad would live to see supersonic transport and, more amazingly, a man land on the moon? He has seen party lines, rotary phones, push-button phones, and now many generations of cellular devices. He probably ordered something from a Sears Roebuck catalog a few years ago and Amazon more recently. He's been around for the development of the interstate highway system, civil rights movement, the assassination of John F. Kennedy, the stock market crash of 1929, only 6 months old at the time, the Great Depression of the 30s, and the Great Recession of 2008 and 9. He learned of the bombing of Pearl Harbor when he was 12 on the way home from church. December 7 was also his mother's birthday. So he lived through a world war and later served the Air Force during Korea. He was a supply sergeant, and although he does not often talk about his service, I believe him to be a very proud veteran, as all veterans should be. At yesterday's party, each of us received a sheet that highlighted historical events from 1929. For example, the first Academy Awards were held that year. The silent film Wings won Best Picture. Barbara Walters was also born that year. Herbert Hoover was president. My dad remarked that of all the tidbits of information on that sheet, the most interesting to him was the stock market crash. On Black Monday, October 28, the Dow Jones lost 38.33 points, representing 12.82% of its value. The next day, Black Tuesday, October 29, the Dow lost another 30.57 points, or 11.73%. That's a two-day loss of 24.55%. Its final total was a whopping 230.07 points. Today, the Dow is close to 26,000 points. But I noticed another tidbit that caught my eye. When my dad was born, the life expectancy of a U.S. male was only 55.7 years. I'm sure some of that had to do with the fact that World War I ended only 11 years prior, and the numbers may have been skewed since many young men died in that conflict. Of course, World War II would take an even greater toll on young American males. Even so, my dad's life was expected to last only until 1984. That's 1 year after I graduated from high school. My dad has seen medical miracles galore that I'm sure are at least part of the reason he and so many of his friends are far surpassing their life expectancies. The polio vaccine, artificial hearts, and transplants of many kinds are just the tip of the iceberg. Heck, my dad has 2 titanium knees himself. When I was born in 1965, life expectancy was 70.2 years. Today, a baby boy born in the U.S. should live to be 80 years old. My dad is still out kicking the coverage. Every day he is still with us is a blessing, whether he knows it or not.